This lesson is on writing and graphing linear inequalities. So, before we begin this, you need to know a few things about graphing. If you have greater than or less than as your symbol, we're going to have a dashed line or a dotted line. If it has an equals, just like you learned how to graph an equation with equals, that's where you have your solid line. Now, the other thing that you need to know is that if it's greater than or equal to, we're going to be shading above the line, where all the greater numbers I say are. And if you see less than or equal to, we're going to be shading below the line. So with that, let's go ahead and look at this right here. We see that we have our y equals mx plus b, so our m is positive 2/3, and our b, our beginning point, is -4 here. All right. Look at this symbol. This means that according to this chart, we're going to have a dashed line, and because it's a greater than symbol, we're going to be shading above. That's everything we need to know to be able to graph this. So we're going to go ahead and draw our graph, beginning with -4. So if it's a dashed line, that means we can't even fill in the dot. It's going to be an open dot. So we're going to start here, and then we're going to rise 2, run 3, and then we could do it again if we wanted to. Rise 2, run 3, 1, 2, 3. And so dashed line through here is where we're going. Now, the other thing is that we have to shade above this line. So you always want to think about this marker here, right here, and we would be shading above, which would be right up here. So if we turn this just slightly, here's where we still shade. I haven't moved my hand. It's like you're pointing. I'm going to shade here, and so if you turn the marker to match the line, we know we're shading up here. So that means that we're shading everything above this line. That means anything in this area would be a solution. All right, we do it again with this one. We see that we have m is going to equal 1. There's an invisible 1 there. The beginning point would be 2 here. That equals means that we have a solid line, and the less than means we're going to be shading below. So we draw our x and our y axis here. This one's y, this one's x. We're going to start here at the beginning point here is 2. So we're going to go up 1/1, because remember slope, if it's 1, it's 1/1, so rise 1, run 1. Then we go up 1/1, so we have a solid line that we're going to use here, and then we're shading below. So again, if this line right here represented where we want to shade in this section like anything here. So if you turn that marker, see, you're still shading on this side. So you're shading below, which means anything in here, even 0, 0, is a solution to this inequality. All right, sometimes we have just a line without the x or y variable. It depends which one we give you. We're missing a letter. So in this case, remember that a y equals line is just going to be a horizontal line. Notice here that this is less than, so we're going below, and we're missing that extra little equals there, so that means this is going to be a dashed line. So at the number 4, we would have a dashed line, and we're going to be shading below it. Anything under here would be a solution. Finally, sometimes our inequalities look like they're in standard form. That means we need to solve for y first. So we're going to move that 6x by subtracting both sides from 6x from both sides. That will cancel, and -2y will be greater than -6x plus 4. Then we're going to divide every single term here by -2, but there's a catch. Anytime you multiply or divide by a negative number, it flips your inequality symbol. So now y is less than, this makes it 3x, that would make that -2. And so you would go ahead and get your graph ready. This is y, this is x. My slope here is 3, or 3/1. The y-intercept is -2. There's no equals, so it's going to be dashed. And there, it's a less than, so we're shading below. So we're going to start at -2, open dot. Then we're going to go up 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to go over 1. And then you could keep going, but I'm going to go ahead and just dash this. And this one's a little harder to see where below is, so let's go ahead and do this here. If we put our hands here, and we say we're going to shade this way, notice that we're being pushed here. This is where we're going to be shading. This is below the line, so anything here would be a solution. This time 0, 0 would not be a solution to this particular inequality because it's not in the shaded region.